When Bonanza first arrived on television screens in 1959, nobody could have predicted it would become one of the most significant entertainment phenomena in history. Central to that success was Pernell Roberts, who played the serious and intellectual eldest son, Adam Cartwright. Yet despite being a major celebrity on camera, Roberts secretly hated the egotistical and toxic behavior that flourished in Hollywood. So when one of his fellow actors crossed a line, Roberts reacted forcefully. He allegedly stared directly at that performer and labeled him a child of Satan. This incident naturally leads to two questions. What kind of actor could inspire such a deeply vicious insult from a usually dignified man? And what truly happened on that set to cause such an outburst? Join us as we reveal the hidden behind-the-scenes conflict that the network worked hard to keep buried. Before ever stepping onto the Ponderosa Ranch as Adam Cartwright, Pernell Roberts was the son of a soda salesman with deep small-town Georgia origins. He grew up as a boy from Waycross, Georgia, born on May 18, 1928, the only child of a Dr. Pepper salesman and a caring mother. Young Pernell found his love for performing at an early age. During high school, he took every chance to be the center of attention, playing the horn, performing in school and church productions, and even singing at local USO events. He was a talented but restless young man. He enrolled at Georgia Tech, but the strict academic environment could not keep his interest for long. So he departed before earning a degree to seek a different kind of adventure. That adventure came in 1946 when he joined the United States Marine Corps. Roberts served his nation for 2 years, yet he never abandoned his musical passion. He proudly performed on the tuba and horn within the respected Marine Corps band, learning the sousaphone and several percussion instruments along the way. After finishing his military duty, he tried college once more, this time at the University of Maryland. There he finally experienced the excitement of classical theater, appearing in major student productions like Othello and Antigone. Again, the conventional classroom could not match the enchantment of the stage, so he withdrew to pursue acting full-time in summer stock theater. By 1949, his risk succeeded when he made his professional stage debut in Maryland, performing alongside notable talents such as Moss Hart and Kitty Carlisle. This early success fueled his ambition, resulting in intense weeks of theatrical work in Philadelphia, where he handled complex characters in classic dramas. Eager for bigger venues, Roberts moved to New York City in 1952. He rapidly dominated the off-Broadway scene, displaying his wide range in works, from one-act operas to Shakespearean tragedies. His strong presence was undeniable, and he soon advanced to Broadway, acting with legendary figures like Joanne Woodward and Robert Culp. The theater world quickly recognized a rising star. In 1955, Roberts received a prestigious Drama Desk Award for an outstanding off-Broadway performance in Macbeth. He followed that achievement with notable roles in Romeo and Juliet and The Taming of the Shrew at the American Shakespeare Festival. Roberts quickly followed this with a memorable part in the Western comedy The Sheepman, appearing alongside icons Glenn Ford and Shirley MacLaine. Even as his film career advanced, he remained a regular and engaging presence on television. He showed his remarkable versatility by appearing in family-oriented episodes of Shirley Temple's Storybook Theater. And he also went back to his theatrical origins in a live broadcast of Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. He became the ultimate TV guest star, showing up in popular westerns like Trackdown, Zane Grey Theater, and Tombstone Territory, proving he could play dark and dangerous characters as effectively as heroes. He also played a merciless villain in a gripping 1958 episode of Have Gun Will Travel. The year 1959 would become the most dramatic turning point of his entire career. Roberts was everywhere, guest starring on top programs like 77 Sunset Strip and General Electric Theater. But his greatest cinematic success came when he co-starred in the classic film Ride Lonesome, playing the charming outlaw Sam Boone. Roberts delivered an unforgettable performance, perfectly balancing the intensity against legendary star Randall Scott and a young, debuting James Coburn. It was widely regarded as his finest movie role, yet the best was still ahead. That same year, Roberts rode straight into television history when he was cast as Adam Cartwright in Bonanza, a part that would soon make him a household name. As the first Western broadcast in color, Bonanza transformed NBC and changed entertainment forever. When it burst onto television screens on NBC in 1959, it did not just become a hit. It permanently altered the face of entertainment. Running for an amazing 14 seasons and 440 episodes, it secured its position as the second longest-running Western in broadcast history. It was a groundbreaking production, making history as the very first Western shown entirely in color. Viewers were immediately captivated by the fictional Cartwright family, a powerful group of ranchers living in the mid-1800s near the bustling mining town of Virginia City, Nevada. This all-male household was led by the wise patriarch Ben Cartwright, a three-time widower who had one son from each marriage. The brothers could not have been more different. There was the large, gentle giant Haas, the hot-headed and romantic little Joe, and the serious, university-educated architectural engineer Adam, played by Pernell Roberts. While the early seasons thrived on the natural conflict among these three distinct brothers, the show later shifted its focus to the enormous challenges of operating their legendary ranch, the Ponderosa. The Cartwrights became community pillars, standing apart from typical TV gunslingers by relying on diplomacy, conversation, and pure intelligence to defend their land and maintain peace. Yet behind the scenes of this massive television sensation, trouble was brewing. At his core, Pernell Roberts was a classically trained stage actor, used to the rich, complex dialogue of Shakespeare and the exciting freedom of moving from one challenging role to the next. For him, the endless repetition of series television, playing the exact same character week after week, without even a costume change, felt like an attractive prison. As the show rose to the top of the ratings, Roberts became increasingly frustrated. He believed the scripts were too simple and badly lacked minority actors. It angered him that Adam, a brilliant man in his 30s, had to continually beg his father for approval before making any significant decision. He publicly ridiculed this dynamic as completely childish, asking a reporter in 1963 whether it was not somewhat silly for three grown men to live that way. Roberts had been promised substantial character development and carefully prepared scripts, but as the seasons passed, he felt the network never kept those promises. He came to hate the assembly line mentality of Hollywood, longing for stories with genuine social relevance, adult themes, and sophisticated dialogue. The tension finally reached a breaking point, and despite the incredible fame and wealth the show brought him, Roberts famously left the Ponderosa after the 1964 to 1965 season. It became a true cultural phenomenon, right down to its legendary theme song. Although fans only know the instrumental version today, the music actually sparked a lyrical battle behind the scenes. Multiple sets of hidden lyrics were written, including a special version by star Lorne Greene and another recorded by the legendary Johnny Cash. The cast even filmed a secret scene singing the words for the pilot episode, but nervous network executives ultimately removed it from the broadcast. However, the truly cutthroat drama was the fierce political game the actors played to protect their territory, enforcing a strict limit on who could call themselves a Cartwright. Early on, a grueling 34-episode season had a frustrated Pernell Roberts threatening to leave. Panic producers brought in Guy Williams, famous for playing TV Zorro, as cousin Will Cartwright to prove that nobody was irreplaceable. When Roberts changed his mind and chose to stay, Williams was ruthlessly removed from the show, eventually finding fame as the iconic space dad in Lost in Space. That close call completely frightened Michael Landon and Lorne Greene. Protecting their positions, they went directly to the executives and issued a fierce ultimatum. No other new actors could ever play a Cartwright. They feared that the network would use long-lost family members to replace the original stars. Their power play succeeded. When Roberts finally did quit after season 6, newcomers like David Canary were kept strictly on the outside. This harsh rule seemed to apply to the women of the show as well, though for a much darker reason. It simply was not safe to love a Cartwright. Ben Cartwright was widowed 3 times, and any woman who caught a Cartwright ended up tragically dead or driven out of town. In the end, it was not a bitter backstage feud that destroyed the mighty Ponderosa, but a sudden, heartbreaking tragedy. In May 1972, the beloved Dan Blocker died unexpectedly from a medical complication after surgery. The show tried desperately to recover for its 14th season, bringing David Canary back and adding young star Tim Matheson to attract a fresh audience. But without their gentle giant Haas, the ratings completely collapsed, and the network finally ended the series. Years later, both Landon and Green admitted that the vital heart and soul of Bonanza had died right along with their dear friend. But long before that final tragedy concluded the series, the cracks in the Cartwright family foundation had already begun to show. For Pernell Roberts, the problem was not a lack of success, but the crushing realization that the golden cage of network television was suffocating his artistic dreams. Roberts was a man engaged in a quiet, painful war against his own success. He was a deeply trained theater actor who cared about real art. Yet he found himself trapped in a television world that preferred to play things safe. To Roberts, the massive fame and money of Bonanza felt like a tight cage that would ruin his talent and make people forget he could play anything else. This fierce need to do meaningful work is exactly what drove him to do what everyone else thought was completely insane. He chose to reject a fortune and walk away from the biggest show on television because his artistic soul simply could not endure it anymore. But the truth behind the child of the devil rumors is far different from the gossip the network tried to bury. While Roberts aimed his hostility at network executives, his relationship with Landon was not born out of hatred at all. Betty Endicott, a fellow Bonanza cast member, later recalled a secret story that completely shattered the myth of their backstage animosity. Years later, while Endicott was working with Roberts on his hit series Trapper John, M.D., Landon unexpectedly showed up at the hospital location where they were filming. When Endicott questioned him, Landon quickly shushed her and told her to keep quiet, explaining that he was there to visit his mother but wanted to surprise his old co-star. Endicott watched closely as Landon quietly snuck up behind Pernell and gently tapped him on the shoulder. Instead of a hostile confrontation, Roberts jumped up and instantly wrapped Landon in a tight, emotional embrace. Endicott later shared that the moment warmed her heart because it finally proved that the rumored animosity did not exist, noting that those kinds of close reactions simply do not happen when people hate each other. The two old friends sat down and had a nice long visit, spending a great deal of time just laughing and talking. In the end, the dramatic story of Pernell Roberts calling a co-star a child of the devil turned out to be nothing more than a ghost story cooked up by a Hollywood rumor mill hungry for drama. While Roberts possessed a fierce, uncompromising temper when it came to his art, that venom was never meant for Michael Landon. Behind the jokes and the rumors of a toxic feud, the two Cartwright brothers shared a deep, lasting bond that outlived the Ponderosa Ranch itself. What Bonanza episode is your favorite to this very day? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.